What a headshot! What a head!
How's it, guys? This is Dayvy, FPL, and welcome back to the Fantasy Premier League video here on my channel. Now in this video, I'll be taking you through the ultimate / wildcard guide to the upcoming game week 12. So the usual ultimate guide talking points will be covered. I've just kind of titled it the wildcard week, as game week 12 is a pretty hot week to use the wildcard. So I'll be going over a premium kind of fixture review for those of you on the wildcard. But otherwise, the normal stats review, the clean sheet projections, as well as the predicted goals. And then as we always do, wrapping up with the captaincy debate, which this week we have so many great options. So if that's something you guys are interested in, sit back, relax, and let's get straight into it. So to start off with the team stats, and I've actually switched this up, I won't be going over the entire season as a whole, I'll be going over the informed teams, so therefore only taking the last 6 game weeks. Now because we only had 11 weeks of data, next week I'll be going over both combinations, the entire season or 12 weeks, as well as the last 6 weeks for the informed teams. So just keep that in mind, some teams might have had kind of easier fixtures, the last 6 might look like a sea of green for some teams and a sea of red for other teams, but these are the teams with the best attacking and defensive numbers at the moment. So let's go over the attacking numbers first, and the usual suspects Arsenal and Man City at the top here, but we have had a drop off from Liverpool. Now coming in 3rd and 4th are going to be Spurs, Chelsea, before finally Bournemouth as well as Fulham. Both Bournemouth and Fulham have had great starts this season. It's a little bit worrying there that Liverpool aren't going to be on this list, but their fixtures have been slightly tougher, but Mo Salah's continue to actually tick along nicely. But overall, kind of the usual suspects there, Arsenal, Man City, Spurs, Chelsea. Most of us own these assets at the end of the day, and even though Erling Haaland hasn't been converting that XG, he's still putting up some great numbers. Now on the right hand side, let's go over the worst teams. These are teams to avoid from an attacking point of view, but if you have defenders facing, the clean sheet odds could be high, and we have had some variation in terms of the numbers here. So unfortunately, Southampton, Wolves, Everton are the bottom 3, followed closely by Leicester United as well as Crystal Palace, but all eyes on that new manager bounce from that United team. So probably not what you want to see here from Wolves. Our owner Cunha, he's actually put up some good numbers, but those Wolves fixtures have finally started to turn. So as mentioned, you might want to avoid these teams, but if your defenders are facing them, definitely target them. Just kind of a pity that Trent might not be fit for this game. Now let's jump to the defensive numbers, and once again we're going to see Fulham and Bournemouth in the top 6. Just reiterates the fact that they've had great starts this season. Now I just want to pause on Fulham and Bournemouth for a moment, because if you guys own those Spurs options, they have Man City this week and then these 2 clubs. So is the chance of attacking threat actually going to be there? I know for my own team, our own Kulusevski as well as Dom Solanke, this does worry me slightly and might even force me to take a -4 to get them out my team this game week. Other teams to note, Nottingham Forest, Everton, they've improved their defensive numbers, and now we finally see one of those top teams with Arsenal. Also want to give a shout out to Newcastle appearing here with 0.33, that defense has improved, and that's why I selected a Lewis Hall on my wildcard draft. So definitely some shakeups in their informed numbers. I know a team like an Everton have had good fixtures though. Unfortunately, no Calvert-Lewin points, but the defenses look slightly better. Now if you guys are considering going without those Arsenal options, I would say their defensive numbers are still looking good. Yes, their clean sheets might not be there, but still could be worth the investment. Now on the right hand side, I'll be going over the worst XG conceded numbers, basically the teams that concede the most chances. And we have those newly promoted squads all at the top. So Ipswich, Leicester, Southampton, all of those teams target them for that attacking threat. And they're followed by Brighton, Wolves, and yes, Man City. So I just got rid of my double up with Rico Lewis as well as Guardiola. They haven't been getting many clean sheets, and this might explain that with this bad XG conceded number. So on the left hand side, we've got Arsenal, on the right hand side, Man City. I know which defense I'll be investing in, especially when you consider the fact that Man City have tough fixtures coming up. We're going to be in for a treat though this week, with Chelsea playing Leicester, Liverpool playing Southampton, and if you guys own a Bruno Fernandes, Ipswich is a great game. So once again, these numbers are all over the last 6 game weeks, the most informed teams defensively and from an attacking point of view. You guys can go over to Fantasy Football Fix if you guys want the whole season, but I'll be showcasing that next kind of ultimate guide. But now let's head on to my favorite part of this ultimate guide, or this wildcard guide, and that's going to be the projected clean sheets as well as projected goals. And these are all from the SpreadX data. So let's go over the clean sheet numbers first, bringing up every fixture on the screen as well as the color coding. Straight from the FPL website, it's green down to maroon. So quite surprisingly to me, the top team this week is going to be Arsenal with 50%, which if you guys do know these odds, that's pretty kind of significant. Don't you know where that number's coming from, if it's either the Arsenal defensive numbers or the lack of maybe Nottingham Forest attack? But all I know is Chris Wood has been scoring goals for fun over the opening game weeks. So fingers crossed we do actually keep a clean sheet here with that 50%, as I do own a Gabriel. Other teams to note, kind of expectantly, we've got Liverpool with 42%, which just makes it quite weird why Arsenal are so high. I mean, I do consider Southampton's attack to be significantly lower than the Nottingham Forest one, but Liverpool have a worse chance of a clean sheet. Then we have Aston Villa tied with Newcastle, both have pretty respective games. And then finally Fulham with those good defensive numbers against a Wolves team where I own Cunha. So probably not what you want to see if you may be considering benching a player, maybe a Wolves asset could be there. And also to note the clean sheet odds of Ike Norrie is only 13%. On the opposite end of the spectrum, we've got your kind of newly promoted squads, Leicester with 9%, Southampton with 6%, they're probably going to concede quite a few goals, and also Spurs against Man City with 7% as well. Finally West Ham as well as Nottingham Forest with both 10%, the odds aren't really favouring that Nottingham Forest team. We also have some boring fixtures as well as some more exciting ones, for example Bournemouth, Brighton, probably exciting, whereas Everton, Brentford might be a little bit kind of lackluster. But you guys can pause the screen right now if you want to go over the numbers in a bit more depth. I've gone over the teams to target as well as the teams to avoid. Now let's head on to the more exciting kind of metric, and that's predicted or projected goals. And we've got some very high scoring games this week. So as you guys can see, a lot of teams are on that kind of 2.5 mark. We've got Liverpool at the top with 2.65, followed by Man City on 2.5. We have Chelsea, Arsenal and Newcastle are on that 2.3, 2.2 mark, as well as Fulham on 1.95. So if we were to go on projected goals, you would probably say Liverpool are going to be top, but I would argue that Man City with 2.5 and Erling Haaland probably having a bigger goal share than someone like a Salah, he might be the best Captaincy option. So yes, if you guys do have an Erling Haaland, maybe keep hold of him. Let's see what happens in the Captaincy debate later on, but probably an early favourite. Otherwise, Chelsea, Arsenal, nice to see that they projected to score a few goals as a Palm and Saka owner. Fingers crossed that actually happens. Just to go back to some of those kind of more boring games, we've got Bournemouth and Brighton being quite exciting, with low projectors around kind of Nottingham Forest as well as Crystal Palace. Southampton and West Ham also have some pretty low margins, so it could be some major swing fixtures. But really exciting to see such kind of high scoring games and so many of them. Let me know which game you think is going to have the most goals in it. Once again, this is from the SpreadX data, you guys can go use it if you want to, this updates as the days go by, but I can't see the numbers changing too much, maybe that Arsenal clean sheet dropping. Now the next talking point I want to go over is going to be a review of the more premium teams, and that's going to be for those of you on the wildcard. Now even if you guys aren't on the wildcard, it might be good to put a plan in place of kind of rotating your premiums, as that seems like what we're going to do this Premier League season. So the one team I won't focus on here is going to be Chelsea, because I believe on a wildcard, Cole Palmer is almost essential, as long as he's going to be fit, but he did train this week. So the teams I want to focus on, firstly Man City. They have a tough run of fixtures in the short term, but the medium term fixtures look so good, especially from game week 18 onwards. We then have Arsenal with some mediocre kind of medium term fixtures, however some great ones kind of sprinkled in there. They are a pretty consistent team as they aren't really rotated though. Then finally Liverpool with Southampton in game week 12 is going to be a great fixture, but their medium term fixtures aren't the best, but like with Arsenal, have some good ones sprinkled in. Now if you guys are going to kind of look for a rotation plan, this just gets so much tougher, as in game week 18 all teams are great fixtures. Just look there, Everton at home for Man City, we then have Ipswich at home for Arsenal, Leicester at home for Liverpool, and pretty good fixtures after that anyways. Also want to add that Chelsea have some strong fixtures in that game week range, so could see some major kind of premium rotation headaches around game week 18. My thinking at the moment though is to probably drop Man City and Erling Haaland if you were on a wild card, and bring them in around game week 18 with free transfers. I just don't think other than Spurs, Liverpool, Nottingham Forest, Crystal Palace, United and Aston Villa probably won't captain Erling Haaland that many times, especially with better fixtures for these other premium squads. Just wanted to showcase in terms of the fixtures why I believe dropping Erling Haaland could be advantageous, but you guys can always still go for him on your wildcard if you want to. I think a big question is probably, should you take out Erling Haaland in game week 12 with free transfers, And maybe let's talk about our Captaincy debate to go over that. So the final talking point to go over is going to be all about the captaincy, and as mentioned, so many options this game week. My three favorite are going to be Erling Haaland, Mo Salah and Cole Palmer. Deciding between these three though is going to be mighty tough, and that's how projected points might come in clutch, and Erling Haaland's the leader. So 8.4 for the Norwegian, we then have 7.6 for Mo Salah, 6.9 for Cole Palmer. I'm currently on Mo Salah, but I might think that Erling Haaland might edge him. Probably not what you want to hear if you don't own the Norwegian like myself, but I do believe he's a very viable captaincy option. I think I'll be fine with sticking it on Mo Salah or Cole Palmer though. I do believe the highest ceiling might be on the midfielder this week though, as the clean sheet point might be there, as Southampton and Leicester don't have the best attacks. The extra point per goal might be where Salah and Palmer just edge Erling Haaland, but if you guys have seen all the Spurs defensive injuries, you'll be pretty happy to have him in your squad. I think this week probably will be quite split. I think definitely Mo Salah might be the popular option, as with those fitness concerns with Cole Palmer, that might just drop his percentage quite a bit. But let me know in the comments down below who's your captain for the upcoming game week 12. I'm on Mo Salah at the moment, Cole Palmer vice captain, but if I did on Erling Haaland, he would be quite tempting. Let's see if that does change as the game week does progress. Some big press conferences coming up on Thursday and Friday after this international break. So comment down below on my Discord server if you guys have any other talking points, otherwise I'll probably address them in my team selection, probably coming up on Thursday. Otherwise enjoy the last few days of the international break, and I'll see you guys in the deadline stream coming up on Saturday, otherwise in my team selection on Thursday. But this is basically a wrap of the video guys, hope you guys did enjoy it, please don't forget to like it and subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. Tons of content still to come up before that game week 12 deadline, so make sure those bell notifications are turned on. But for the time being, I'm signing off. It's been Dayvy FPL and I'm out. Cheers, bye.